I am never doing parent-teacher conferences again. Okay, the traditional way of doing a parent-teacher conference. I will forever do student-led conferences for the rest of my teaching. In today's video, I'm going to share with you why I do student-led conferences, and I'm going to share with you my exact process of how I do it so that if you want to try it, you can do it too. If you're new here, I'm Rachel Vincent, and I love sharing ways to help teachers simplify their classrooms and their teaching. In full transparency, I work at a Leader in Me school, the Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective Kids. So a lot of what we do has been built into our school culture, but it's things that most teachers do already. It's just kind of wrapped in a pretty little package. But student-led conferences is one of the things that I gained from being a Leader in Me school. It was one of those things that was kind of thrown at us. We kind of jumped in and did it, and I realized how easy it was. And then I have tweaked it over the years. The number one best part about it is the fact that it puts the student in charge of their learning and they're responsible. So in a traditional parent-teacher conference setting, the teacher is the one giving all the information. The parent comes in, 15, 20 minutes, is giving the data, is saying how the student is doing academically, behaviorally, socially. If you're lucky, the student is there, but oftentimes when the student is there, they're just kind of on the side, and it's not really them in charge and being responsible for their learning. Student-led conferences allow the student to take on the responsibility of their learning, their goals, their progress, their self-reflection, and it really encourages a conversation between the child and parent or family member about their school life. So just like regular parent-teacher conferences, preparation starts a few weeks before. Typically, you're the one that is gathering all the data. Whereas with the student-led conference, you're going to have to help the student gather the data and information. I typically start with a self-reflection. We usually have our conferences in October, which means we have the first quarter for students to sort of reflect on how their school year is going. So I give them some sort of self-reflection. The one I used was shared from a teaching partner, so I'm not sure where she got it. They're sentences and they rate them based on like they do an outstanding job, they sometimes do it, or they need improvement. It's a lot of like habits: using class time effectively, turning in quality work, listening during instruction, works well with others, cooperates, those types of things. So they're reflecting. And I give the whole spiel to my students. I'm like, okay, listen, you are sharing this with your parent and your parent knows you the best. So if you say that you never have a problem with talking and your parent knows you talk a lot, they're probably going to be like, are you sure you were honest with this? So we talk about how it's okay to not have a perfect score, if you will, but to be reflective on things that they know they need to improve. After we do the reflection sheet, we do what I've just called a conference sheet. This is where they're going to think about some of the things, like I have them write so far their favorite thing about 4th grade. They write down their strengths and what they feel their weaknesses are when it comes to 4th grade. They actually write down how their parents can help them improve their weaknesses. And then they also write down their progress towards their math fluency goal and any other goals we have. I will say this process takes a little while. So I don't do this all in one day. We have our morning meeting time that we direct towards this when it's close to parent conferences. So the first day we'll do the reflection sheet, the next day or two, because sometimes this conference sheet where they're really diving into what their goals and strengths and weaknesses are takes a couple of days sometimes. So we work on that in the next 2 days. And then we select work for them to share with their students. A lot of times I will kind of say, here are your options, and narrow it down from the work we've done. Because one thing, I do send a lot of work home as we do it. And so if I forget to keep some of it, I'll just have us share whatever we're currently working on. But if I'm good and on it and remember to save some of that work, I will allow the student to choose some of those work that they want to share. The final step of preparing students is to give them a script. Now, I will say in the beginning, when we first started doing this, our script was a script where it says, welcome to my conference. I want to share with you blank. And so we would actually like give them the wording for it. Because our students have done student-led conferences year after year after year, by the time they're in 4th grade, it's their 3rd or 4th one. They don't really need a script anymore. They're used to sharing with parents. So it's really more of like a checklist where it says like, get your leadership, open it and show them your reflection sheet. Show them, go over your conference sheet. share with them our class mission statement. Like all of those different things that we kind of keep in our leadership notebooks already, they kind of share. So it's more of a checklist. I would say though, if you are starting this for the first time, go with a script. It makes the students feel a little more comfortable, makes you feel a little more comfortable. And if it's something that becomes school-wide, then you could go to a checklist, but sticking with a script is very helpful. The last thing I do is I let the students know the questions that I am leaving with the parents to ask. One of the things that helps with conversation, I give my parents possible questions they could ask. Of course, they could ask whatever question they want, but it just kind of helps guide the conference along. And so I go ahead and let the students know these are some of the questions your parents might ask you, so you want to think about your answers. So that's what you do as far as preparing your students. So then the other component would be what you do as the teacher to inform the parent. I do have a letter that I send home. I will link it below if you want to use it. It kind of explains the process of student-led conferences. Most of our families are used to them by now, but we still have some that are new to our school that have never heard of student-led conferences. So it's a way to sort of explain how our conferences work. The thing that's nice about student-led conferences is you don't need to do them one-on-one. You could have 5 or 6 going on at one time. When we first started, we would have certain times that parents could come, and we sort of had like a sign up. Just like always, we would just allow, instead of just one person to sign up for the time, 5 or 6 families to be able to sign up at a time. And we did it that way. Last year, we moved to more of a drop-in time frame where we gave morning block, an afternoon block, a lunchtime block, which parents could come and go. It made it a little more flexible for work schedules because we do our conferences on a teacher workday. I would have families sort of tell me what time they think they're going to come just so I knew how many to expect. But it is so much easier because since you can knock out 5 to 6 at a time, you really only have like 5 different time blocks instead of having to schedule 25 different time blocks. So as far as your time commitment, whether it's on a work day or after school, which is how we're gonna have to do our conferences this year because we don't have that work day, it keeps you from having to pretty much do like a month-long time of conferences. If you don't have a designated time, you could do it 1 hour each day after school and knock it out. Or if you have several hours you can commit. And it doesn't even need to be hours because most conferences take 10 to 15 minutes. So during conference day, I have, of course, students are leading it. I'm there, I'm kind of walking around, making sure if there's any questions. A lot of times when the student is done, if a parent does have questions for me, I'm there. It's nice because the child just gave all that information. So when they have like he said that he is struggling in this area and I think I'm gonna get him some flashcards for his math facts. What else do you suggest? And so then I can jump in and help with that. But it's nice because they already have some knowledge and a conversation with their kid that I'm just sort of adding to the conversation. I'm curious to know if you've ever tried student-led conferences, and if you have, how did it go? Let me know down in the comments below so that we can kind of chat about how student-led conferences work in our classroom. And if you're curious to see how I set goals with students, check out the video that's on your screen now.